everyone, it's been a while since I made a pickup video. This is a very special pickup video. This is the post Classic Gaming Expo 2014 pickup video, which I'm going to go over some of the stuff I picked up at the Classic Gaming Expo. The expo was last weekend, the 12th, 13th, and 14th. I was in charge of setting up the console area. Overall, I think it came out really good. I did get a lot of good comments, a lot of good feedback from everybody that attended the show. The hotel staff seemed to like it. A lot of the alumni liked the arcade and console area as well. Overall, I ended up having a little over 50 consoles set up to play. Had a few handhelds as well on some tables there for people to play, and those were brought in by Rick Morgan, who has a large, really cool handheld collection. He brought in a bunch of the Coleco tabletop arcades, which I thought was awesome. He also brought in a Intex Adventure Vision for people to play. It was the first time I had ever played one of those Intex Adventure Visions, and I have to say, it was pretty impressive. I was very impressed with that little console. It has a spinning mirror in there and an LED matrix. So basically, it's the precursor of like a Virtual Boy system. This has a solid line of LEDs that cycle a certain way, and there's a mirror that spins in there, does this to give you a full picture. The game I played on it was Defender, and it was actually a really good version of Defender on that little console. I had never seen one of those, even back when they were released to the public back in the 80s. I don't ever remember seeing them in the stores or on display or anything. So I can see why they command a high price. They're very rare. I wouldn't mind having one myself, actually. It's pretty cool. But we also had some Vectrex units in there. We also had the local Commodore Club have a bunch of Amigas in there, Commodore 64s and everything. I'll put a link to that club that's in Las Vegas in the show notes below. They did recruit a lot of new members. It was great having them at the show. I really appreciate them coming along. All the TVs that was there in the console area was sourced from a local recycler called Nevada Recycling. They gave us 2 or 3 pallets of TVs that I had to sort through, find ones that would work, that were some needed a little bit of repair and everything, but basically we was able to come up with enough TVs to cover all the consoles we had brought in there. Well, let's see what else. Oh, there was a lot of great panels. I only attended 3 panels, though. I didn't really have a lot of time since I was in charge of the console area. I spent most of my time down there. One of the panels I attended was the Ed Averitt Odyssey 2 panel. That's the first time Ed Averett's ever been out to attend a panel like this. I actually made a recording of it, so I'll probably have that on my podcast sometime. There's a podcast I'm working on called the Wizards of Odyssey 2 podcast that I'm trying to do with some buddies of mine, Jeremy Jargon, who does the Greatest American Hero podcast with Rick Reynolds, Paul Nermanen, who does the Intellivision podcast, and also Sean Stevenson, who goes by the name of Retro Sean on the Retro Gaming Roundup forums. Sean is a wealth of knowledge on the Odyssey 2, so I think it's going to be a pretty good podcast whenever we get it off the ground and start running with it. But anyway, enough of that. What else about CG? Oh, another panel I attended was the Jay Smith panel, the father of Vectrex and the Microvision, little handheld unit. Very fascinating panel to sit in. Guy is super nice. I talked to him a little bit after the panel. Really cool guy. Couldn't hear enough about the Vectrex. It's still one of my favorite machines. I've got one myself with the Sean Kelly multi-cart. So I have a wide range of games I can play. So they're definitely worth getting a hold of. If you ever have a chance to get a Vectrex, I highly recommend you get one. It's really cool. Chris Romero was there also. He donated a lot of Vectrex units to the console area for people to play, which I really appreciate. He also had a neat little oscilloscope game there that was Flapping Bird that was on an oscilloscope. It was a lot of fun to play. It was really cool. It was really neat to see that. Another contributor to the show was Mark Kennedy. He donated a lot of stuff to the show, to the console area as well. And then I had my mech commander, Jay Fulshed, Jared. Jared Fulcher. Sorry, Jared. Jared Fulcher, who goes by the call sign Golden. He's a military person. Thank you for your service, Jared. You're awesome. And his specialty is setting up mech ballerinas using Steel Battalion line of sight and Xbox consoles. He has a custom rig that he hauls around that he uses himself. It's loaded with extra switches that he's done to make the controller do different things. We had a 6-station Steel Battalion set up at the Classic Gaming Expo, all ran by Jared, and it was awesome. It was always full. There was always somebody there playing it. He had a blast. We had a lot of contests there. It was ran by my second in command, T.J. Birmingham. He's a service guy out at Nellis Air Force Base out there in Las Vegas. Oh, thanks for your service, TJ. And he had a blast running all the different competitions we had back there. The main ones that I did was the Kaboom High Score, which is a neat story. The guy who actually won the high score contest at Kaboom, when he was young, he had taken a 35mm picture of his Kaboom score. It was like 24,000 points or something. But it never got sent in for him to get the Activision patch for Kaboom. And then 30 years later, he wins this tournament at Classic Gaming Expo, and he gets the Activision Kaboom patch. I thought that was pretty cool. Another contest that I held there that I helped run was one of the Mario Karts, which we had Anime Revolution come in and actually race the winner in cosplay outfit as Mario and Luigi and Princess Peach. It was pretty funny to watch. And another really big contest that was really cool that we had was a 10-player Bomberman that was projected up on the wall. And that podcast was sponsored by Chris Bidwell, who does Now You're Playing with Podcast. That's sort of his specialty, that 10-player Bomberman. So he actually brought out all the controllers. I supplied the Saturn, and I supplied the Bomberman game, and Chris supplied all the controllers and the NetLink cards, and actually got everything set up for me and ran the contest. It went really smooth, really well. Everybody had a really great time. It was a blast to watch. Really exciting. Pretty neat. Had a lot of neat vendors there. Of course, we had Collector Vision Games, the company that John works for. He was there with his buddy, Jason Heine. And we also had Kurt Vendel there that was showing off the XM module for the Atari 7800. He's also showing some of the books he has. He also had an actual ET cart that came from the ET dig they did. He had a little glass case where you can see this ET cart in there. It was all cruddy and dirty and stuff. It was pretty neat to see. Of course, we had the Television Productions there, Keith Robertson, and he was running his booth and giving out a limited edition Blue Sky Rangers sign and television flashback, which I'm going to show here pretty soon. And of course, the related podcast and television areas was right next door with Paul, Rick, and William Olds there. Their booth was pretty busy throughout the expo. They also had some contests there. One they did was like a game show where they had a custom program made for your Intellivision, where they used the little dial pads on four Intellivision controllers. People would push the pad to ring in for them to answer a Intellivision-based question. That was ran by Tommy Tallarico. I watched a little bit of that. It was kind of interesting to watch. And then we had Ryan Gavin, who is the all-time Burger Time world record holder for the console version of Burger Time. He came in and played a game of Burger Time and set a high score. It's like 670 some odd thousand points. And if anybody could break that score, he was going to give them a cash prize, which that was kind of neat to see that occur as well. But there was a lot of neat things there at Classic Gaming Expo. It really wore me out. Basically, it was 5 days of me just humping all over the place. It was tiring, but it was worth it. The last panel I attended, which is more pertinent to the podcast I do, the ColecoVisions podcast, there was one on Coleco that was ran by Janelle Harnois. I can't remember her last name. I'm terrible with names. But she was there, and she worked for Coleco back then. She showed some neat artwork from the Smurfs, all drawn with felt tip pens, ink pens and stuff, full color on graph paper. It was really neat to see. bunch of other neat things. So I'm hoping to get her on the podcast in the future to talk about all her experiences at Coleco and some of the games that she helped with and everything like that. And I'm hoping I can make contact with other Coleco employees through her to get more people on the show and over on the ColecoVision forums. Also remember that there is an official ColecoVision site now from the current owner of the Coleco brand, Coleco Holdings LLC. They have a website called coleco.vision. So if you type in www.coleco.vision, you're going to go to the Coleco Holdings site for the ColecoVision, which you'll see a link to our forums, a link to the podcast. You'll see some news items like a new head-to-head football coming out and what other kind of announcements that Coleco is going to make. There's big plans for the Coleco brand to come back out into the public eye. The first of which was the ColecoVision Flashback. That was the first official product coming out. So there's many other things planned that I can't talk about right now. Anyway, enough of all that. Let's get to the Classic Gaming Expo pickups. We're going to start off with, of course, I didn't pick this up. This was given to me. The ColecoVision Flashback. Cool. These were given to me by Coleco Holdings to display out there at the Classic Gaming Expo. I did give one away to a lucky winner, Ryan. I forgot his name. Man, I'm terrible with names. But he scored over 5 million points on Pepper 2. That's on this ColecoVision Flashback here. He played the game for like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And basically, he could have kept on going, but he quit at 5 million. The closest score that came to him was 3 million points. So he was very dedicated to get himself a ColecoVision Flashback. So I'm sure he's enjoying it right now. So I got that. One of the things that was interesting about the ColecoVision Flashback, oh, here's it is out of the box. This one's unpacked. I was playing blackjack earlier today, recording the ColecoVision's podcast. Take a little quick look at the console here while I'm making this video. And here's the console. Little guy. It's kind of neat. It's very light. Of course, the power connector is right here on the right front. It's kind of weird. I would think it would be better back here in the back. It's kind of strange they stuck it right on the side like that. I'll make suggestions for the next version of it. Of course, here's our power supply. Here's the power supply. Wow. Now, here's the controller itself. So, here's the controller from the ColecoVision Flashback. It's not too bad. It's fairly responsive. It operates better if you put your thumb on the pad and do this instead of trying to hold it like that. If you try to hold it like this, it kind of pinches your finger, because this doesn't sit as high as the original ColecoVision controller does. I'll get an original one here. So here's the Flashback, and there's the original. See the difference? This one sticks up a whole lot higher than this one does, so you can get your hands around to move around. But this one is a lot more responsive than this one. So just a few minor things there that are kind of a pain. Also, this is not compatible with the original ColecoVision. It's wired differently. Now, I have made an adapter for this to where you can plug this controller into an original ColecoVision and use this on your older ColecoVision system. I got to make some better final versions of the adapter. It's all just kind of nasty wires everywhere right now. But it can be done. You can rewire these with an adapter to use them on your original ColecoVision. I'm also working on a mod to either extend this out or change this to have a ball on it. Something I'll clip on there or whatever. I'm working on one of those right now. And another difference is the overlays, which I thought was kind of interesting. This controller is smaller than the original one. So here's the overlay for it. This is for blackjack. It just slides in this side right here. Get in there. It's like that. Oop, 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 oop. Okay. Now here's the original controller, which is bigger. This is bigger than the Flashback controller, but check this out. The overlay is bigger than the slot. That's kind of wild. Small controller, big overlay slot. Big controller, small overlay slot. Thought that was kind of funny. Uh-oh. Get in there, you. I'm going to put this back in there. Get in there. Yeah. Overlays are really nice, though. They're real nice plastic. Pretty much just like the original overlays you used to get with the ColecoVision. I'm pretty impressed with them. Now, they got two different versions, more versions of the ColecoVision they're going to release. There's one that's exclusive to Dollar General. The only difference is it has an extra game, a 61st game, which is Aquatic Adventure, which is that penguin racing game. It's quite a bit of fun to play. And then there's a Sam's Club version that comes with a bunch of extra overlays. So if I were to buy a second one, I would probably get the Dollar General one just so I have the version that has the 61 games on it. The Sam's Club one, just to get the extra overlays, I don't think so. I don't think it'd be worth that. But anyway, moving on. Let's go to my ColecoVision pickups at the show. First one was I finally picked up Decathlon for my ColecoVision. True to form, like on the Atari version, this will tear up your wrist playing this game, or in this case, your thumb on your thumbstick. It's a little joystick back and forth really fast. Decathlon really takes it out. It's better to use this if you have a controller with push buttons, like that Starplex controller or something like that. Works a lot better with that. The next ColecoVision pickup I have from Classic Gaming Expo is I finally picked up Hero. Loved this game on the Atari 2600. Now I was pretty excited to find it on my ColecoVision. I've been looking at this for quite a long time. It's a really good version of Hero. Really great graphics. It's still a lot of fun to play. And then the next ColecoVision pickup I made, this was exclusive to Classic Gaming Expo, limited released. It was the Joust arcade game for the ColecoVision. Now this is the one that has sound now. So this was definitely worth picking up. It's a great box. Artwork back here. It is really, really cool. This was released by Team Pixel Boy. I think it was like $45 at the show, which isn't bad for a box ColecoVision game. You see, here's the cartridge. It has a real nice label. Real nice cartridge shell. Plays pretty much exactly like the arcade game. The sounds are pretty much dead on as compared to the arcade game. I'm really impressed with this game. Of course, I like Joust anyway, so I know they're going to sell. I think they have some of these left over that they're going to sell now through mail order, but I'm not for sure. But I do know this was a limited run. So if you don't have one, you may want to try to get it if you like the game going on your ColecoVision. And the next ColecoVision game I got a hold of was the CGE version of Gamester 81, the video game. Now, I didn't actually buy this. This was given to me by John. Basically, a few weeks ago, I sent John a interactive R2-D2 astrometric droid, which basically it can walk around on its own. You can talk to it. It'll do all kinds of different things. It's kind of like autonomous. He didn't have one, and he does another channel called the Star Wars Nut 77, which is really neat to watch if you like Star Wars. He reviews a lot of the new toys coming out, some of the old stuff coming out, talks about different Star Wars related topics. It's really neat to watch his YouTube channel, Star Wars Nut 77. But what's really funny is he did a review of that R2 unit when I sent it to him. And during his review, the R2 unit was not responding to him like it's supposed to. It actually turned towards him and started bumping into his chest, being stubborn, which is typical for R2. Thought that was funny as heck because he's trying to get the thing to work right, respond to him, and it was bumping into him. It was pretty funny. Anyway, enough of that. Now, non-ColecoVision stuff I picked up, I was able to finally get a hold of the newest Harmony cart for the Atari 2600. This has the updated firmware in there that makes it more compatible with some of the homebrew ROMs that are running around out there now. So I was pretty happy to get a hold of this. Big thanks to Joshua Witt for picking this up for me. I didn't realize they were at the show. He actually found one and went back and got another one for me because they weren't actually on display. So I was pretty happy he did that for me. Another thing I picked up was sealed in the box Gauntlet to 30 counter for the Atari Lynx. Now I love Gauntlet. This looks like it'd be a pretty fun game to play. And what's neat about this is if you have a net link, you can link up 4 Lynx games together to play a 4-player version of Gauntlet, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know if I'm going to open this or not. I probably will open it because I usually get games to play, not just there and go, ooh, that's nice. I don't know. I'll get to it eventually. Another thing I picked up, well, I didn't pick this up. This is from my own personal collection. I took it in. I took in my Odyssey 2 Casey Munchkin to be signed by Mr. Ed Averitt. And it says on here, to Willie, thanks for everything, Ed Averitt. Awesome. And he also signed the Casey Munchkin cartridge too. You can see it right there in that silver right there. Now this I'm sending to my buddy IndieSo, Jeremy, over in Korea, who's going to be one of the co-hosts for the Wizards of Odyssey 2 podcast. So he'll have something signed by Ed Averitt as well, since I've got a box. I figure I'll send him the cart, and I'll just find me another loose cart somewhere and put it back in this box. Now the next thing I got signed at Classic Gaming Expo was, of course, Yar's Revenge by Howard Scott Warshaw. Awesome. Great game. I love this game. I was pretty thrilled to have Mr. Warshaw sign that for me. And some more cool things I picked up at Classic Gaming Expo were some of these refrigerator magnets. Now these are awesome. I got these from Michael Thomason, and I think he's going to sell these online as well. He had a Bally Astrocade. I love the Bally arcade machine. It's awesome. I got a podcast I'm going to work on for that in the future. Picked up a Channel F refrigerator magnet. And of course, I do the Channel F files, which is a little like a mini podcast I do. It's nothing really major, where I go over each cartridge one at a time and discuss them. Next one I picked up was an Atari Jaguar refrigerator magnet. Pretty cool. Love my Jaguar, especially Tempest 2000 on it. And of course, I had to pick up a ColecoVision refrigerator magnet. And then a TurboGrafx 16 refrigerator magnet. Awesome. And one of my all-time favorite Sega consoles, a Dreamcast. Yeah. I picked my console up on September 9th, 1999. I stood in line and got one of the very first ones that were sold at Toys R Us. So, and I still have that console as well. It was actually at Classic Gaming Expo for people to play. So that was cool. Then I went to the Digital Press after party at CGE, and I was able to get me one of the CGE shot glasses here that has the Digital Press logo on one side and CGE on the other side. That's pretty cool. And then there was a vendor there called Too Many Games that was giving away shot glasses with their logo on them. So I picked one of those up as well. So that's pretty cool. And then lastly, but not least, oh no, I got 2 more things to talk about. Oh, wait a minute here. Next thing I picked up was from my Sega Genesis. This is a homebrew, and it is Fix-It Felix Jr. Basically, it's the arcade game that was seen in the movie Fix-It Felix. This is the arcade game ported to the Genesis. This thing is awesome. Here's some screenshots of it right here. You see the game playing right over here in the little box. Take a look at the cartridge. Pretty neat. I love this thing. I actually got to play a Fix-It Felix cab. I can't remember where I played it at, but I remember playing one. May have been when I went to go see the movie. They had one at the movie. I was out in the Midwest somewhere when I saw the movie. But this is basically the arcade game on a Sega Genesis. Plays really nice. It's a lot of fun to play. I highly recommend you getting this game for your Sega Genesis if you ever run across it sometime. Now we're getting to the very last thing, which is one of the Blue Sky Rangers in television flashbacks. Now what's make this special is we have all the Blue Sky Rangers signed the back of the box. We even got a little cartoon here by Keith Robertson. He's a cartoonist as well. So he drew a little cartoon right there, a little guy waving. Hello! Pretty cool. This is only a sleeve. See, right there's the Intellivision flashback inside. Nothing special about that. This was a custom sleeve that Intellivision Productions had made up to put around the flashbacks at CGE, and they're limited to 200. So this is number 78 of 200. So that's pretty cool. This was given to me by Scott Schreiber, who ran the Classic Gaming Expo this year, and this is basically for saying thank you for all the work I did at the expo and stuff in the arcade console area, which I thought was really nice that he did that for me, give me one of these. So that's going up on the shelf and be displayed. So that's pretty much everything. So next week I get back to the grind, no more vacation. So the next place I'm going is Canton, North Carolina for the Retro Rumble. It's going to occur on Saturday, October. I really need to get my date straight. Hang on here. I got October 11th. It's from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Retro Gamer Store in Canton, North Carolina. I'll be there, representing the Retro Junkies, because I am part of that network, the Retro Junkies. And there'll be a lot of door prizes given away, a lot of arcade games being played for high scores, and prizes and belts and all kinds of neat things. So if you're close to that area, come on down and have some fun at the Canton, North Carolina Retro Gamer. Anyway, after that, October 25th, I'll be doing a charity event, the Something for Life, Extra Life charity event. Basically, it's 24 hours of playing a game, and you get donations to benefit some needy family or something like that. And it's being put on by the Retro Junkies. I've got my own little page there for the ColecoVisions podcast, where I'll take over a part of the live stream to play some games. More likely, it's going to be ColecoVision games. I might do some Bally Astrocade stuff, some Fairchild Channel F. It all depends. See what I'm in the mood to play during my time slot. But anyway, that's all the pickups for this week. Thanks for watching.